Matt Hardy. Thank you for watching the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast.
Hello and a very warm welcome to the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling Podcast. My name is Ant. Today I'm joined by
Dom.
And we also have very special guests, the Wrestle Stories. How are you doing, guys?
Hey!
Doing great.
Mr. Glenn's got hair.
I'm Johnny
Exciting.
Drip.
So you kind of like a weird cross between is it Wayne from Wayne's World and Joey Janela?
This is my Johnny Drip. So when we put our video out,
Oh yeah, when is that happening?
this is what you're gonna get. So
when are you doing that, man? Like what that was your forfeit for the first one.
Well, we were going to do it outside, like make it like with a fence and everything.
Oh, you've had bad weather. You've had bad
we've
weather,
had-
haven't you? Yeah.
We've had rain like every day for the last like I don't know how many days.
Man.
So we've been trying to do it when it's like not raining. So as soon as we get a day where we can get out, and it's like today, it's still raining today. So I think we probably had about 15 inches of rain over the last 2 weeks.
So you are basically in outfit, ready to go outside and film as quickly as you can.
Yes, yeah, that's pretty much what we're gonna have to do. Yeah.
Well, tonight's stream, we are watching. We put a poll out on Twitter, and we asked you what you wanted to watch along with us, and you all voted on WCW Nitro from July 29th, 1996. Exciting show, but before we got that, we've also got a prediction punishment.
Yes, we do.
I'm sorry, Dom.
It's all right. It's all right. I actually got away with this. I actually got away with this because Mr. Glenn's wife banned him from doing it. So I would have got away with doing it. But I decided, because I'm an idiot, that I would still do it. So just so you're aware, there's a bit of cinnamon here. There seems to be a slight lag on the stream. So what I'll do is I'll hold it up for a few extra seconds.
Well, you don't have to, because they're going to see it just as long no matter what you plonk it. It doesn't matter when you see it.
Well, there you go. So there's some cinnamon here. There's a spoon here.
Oh, dude, wait until I've got you a little bit bigger. Oh, bless you. I do feel a bit bad for you here.
It's gone mostly on the It's gone mostly on the table. So, I mean, I could snort it. But again, there's children present. So I'm just going to use that. That's a tiny little bit, and I'll put the rest on my finger. There you go. It's like drugs.
Oh, okay. Well, at least let us see your face. Like, lift up. Like, there we go. Show us the spoon.
Okay. Right, there's a spoon.
Show us what there's now on that spoon, dude.
There is it's just a tiny weeny little bit, but
dude, that's. I mean, the audience can't see anything, and the audience want you to get this predictions punishment done. So
there's
Dom's
nothing-
lost because
you gave me a Duff container.
you open it the other side,
Oh,
you plonker.
it's on my laptop now. Damn it! Oh no, the stream can't go ahead. I can't do it. Oh dear. What a nightmare. I'm covered in cinnamon. It's ridiculous. Right, okay, there's your spoon with quite a bit of cinnamon on.
Lift it up so the audience. Oh, I mean, pitiful, but it's there.
There you go, it's there. There you go. Give me a pass. I was supposed to get away from doing this, so it's fine.
Okay.
Right, okay, cool. Right, I'll lick it from my fingers first because I just wiped half of it off the laptop. There you go. Yeah, there you go. I'm proud of this. Tasty. Lovely cinnamon. Right, fine. Ready, everybody?
Yeah.
All right. Give me your hull, yeah?
Oh yeah.
There you go.
Oh yeah.
Oh, no matter what still comes. Hang on.
Oh, he dribbled everywhere. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's gone. I did the cinnamon challenge. It's done.
You
Well,
rock.
It was.
You did a half of it. Let's do the other.
What you want me to do? Oh, what?
No, I'm joking. I'm
No,
joking.
fine. You know what? It was half. Right, fine. Right, Taryn, come here. Special guest. Right, Taryn, right? You measure it out.
Uh-oh. Here we
Right,
go.
just everyone, this is Taryn, right? Yo. Right.
So in a bit, we are going to watch WCW Nitro. That'll come in about 15 minutes' time. We are just getting the prediction punishment. Double or Nothing, Dom and Mr. G lost and have to face the Cinnamon Challenge because of it.
Get more water.
We only won, though, because of Maven's pick.
Brian Cage!
Brian Cage, that's right. Say Brian Cage before you eat this spoonful, Dom.
Will do. I'm getting some more water. My wonderful assistant, is getting me some more water. I have a full spoon. Right, look at this. Right, full spoon of cinnamon.
That's very good.
1.5 spoons. This is a 1.5 spoon cinnamon challenge.
He's making up for
You
me.
Muppets. Right, fine. Right, okay, ready? Right, Brian Cage.
Oh, bless Taryn. She got him some more water. I was waiting for him to realise he didn't have any water.
Oh my God.
I mean, it defies the point of having water, but we'll let it slide. We'll let it slide.
Entertaining when he's like, not, spitting cinnamon everywhere.
We want to see him choking.
Right, I did it. There you go. I've done it without. If anybody wants to see it done without water, you can go back and watch the video we did a year ago. All right.
Oh no, do it again without water. I'm only joking. Let's
I'm not
move
doing
on.
it again without water. We got a show to do. Thank you, Taryn, for your assistance.
That was awesome.
That was amazing.
Tasty! Tasty cinnamon, everyone! Ugh. Ah. Ah. We'll be doing this all the way through. Ah.
Oh, well.
Taryn, you had a hi from one of our commenters. Jack, he says, hi, Taryn. There you go.
There we go. So
Taryn,
we are
it's
going to
all
be...
right, dude.
All right, dude. We are going to be watching the July 29th, 1996.
Show's over now. Just going to watch wrestling for an hour.
Can you tell us how to watch it on the network, please, for everyone that needs to
Oh,
queue it
God.
up on their iPads?
All right. So, WWE Network. There's a bar at the top. Says WWE Network shows, superstars, tickets, and shop. You go and you click WWE Network. Underneath, it brings up another bar. Says featured WWE pay-per-view, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, In-Ring, Originals, and Watch Now. You click In-Ring. From there, you go to, I gotta go back to this other page, 1 second. From there, you go to, it'll bring up the page. It shows all your in-ring programming. You gotta scroll to like the very bottom, and then WCW will come up. You click WCW Monday Nitro, and then you scroll through, and you get to the July 29th, 1996 episode.
All right.
Boom! There we go. And that's how you navigate the WWE Network. You just get a mini M.
That's right.
Yeah, thanks, Megan. I appreciate it.
Because all of us older dudes wouldn't have a clue.
Yeah, it's because I asked her where it was at. She had to come figure it out. So
Like, yeah.
We had Nitro on the VHS recorder, but we couldn't figure out the network. Cool. So this is going to be an exciting show. We're going to watch that in 15 minutes. Talk about wrestling. Did you enjoy Double or Nothing, guys?
Yes.
yes.
Still another was ace.
Top to bottom, I think the entire thing was real good.
Didn't we talk about how much we like Double or Nothing? I feel like we talked about Double or Nothing a lot, but maybe that was just our show.
Yeah,
I'm
we
sure-
did it a little bit on our...
Oh, we did our predictions, didn't we? We did the predictions video,
Yeah.
and we talked a lot about it for like 3 hours, and that's why it's burned in my memory that we talked about Double or Nothing.
It was
so
a good
much.
show, though. Was it your
was
favourite
a good
show of wrestling this year?
No,
Oh, why? What was better, Dom?
Bray Wyatt and Seth Rollins in Hell in a Cell.
That was last year, but fair enough.
It's still the best thing I've seen for the last 2 years.
Okay.
I would say that this was probably the best.
See, I really liked this pay-per-view like a lot, but like if we're looking at 2020 as a whole at the moment, I would say I don't think I could narrow it down to just like straight up like my favorite pay-per-view, but it's probably the best AEW pay-per-view this year.
Well, yeah, there was Revolution as well, wasn't there? That was January, was it?
Yeah, I really liked, comparing it to other really great pay-per-views that we've had in 2020. Like, I really liked WrestleMania, and I think WrestleMania, the 2 nights, I think that was really good.
WrestleMania was ace. Like it was awesome. Like
Even Money in the Bank was good. So, there have been several good pay-per-views, I think, over the last couple of months.
I can't believe you guys are all saying that they were good. It was awful.
Yeah, but that's because you're a cynical, old, miserable.
I think
you hate everything. You hate everything all the time.
Considering they have not had any fans, they've had to work around that aspect of things. I think that these have been really good.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jack's just commented saying Money in the Bank is a top pay-per-view. Absolutely. I think considering what they've gone through, it was amazing. You know, they did some really amazing work, and I think that we should be celebrating that, to be honest. Money in the Bank was ace, WrestleMania was ace.
I think as far as the WWE side goes, I think the fact that I have felt Raw, SmackDown, even NXT right now has not been real good. No. And so when they've thrown these pay-per-views together, they have looked decent and they've been solid.
Yeah. Well, Jack said there's no major news for SummerSlam yet, so I'm quite curious to see how they do that. Obviously, that might come after Backlash.
Oh no! So this is part of Jack, because Jack's actually got tickets to go to SummerSlam. So he's from the UK and he's waiting to see if he's going to be able to get across there, or what if they're going to move it, or what the plans are. But they'll leave it to the last minute, like they did WrestleMania, unfortunately.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's just the nature of the beast at the moment. I think obviously we're hoping for a return to crowds. I think at the minute they're hoping for July or August. So we'll see what happens, I guess, going forward. But at the minute, this is the new normal, as they say. So we'll see what happens and go from there. You know, we'll still show up with our transatlantic pals, who I would prefer to do the podcast with me, because Anthony's so miserable all the time.
Well, no, I'm the honest one here. I'm the one speaking the truth. You can call me the voice of the truth.
You're not the voice of the truth. Right, aside from yesterday where you came into my garden and we social distanced and had a beer, that was the nicest thing Anthony's done with me for like a year. He's such a bully when we're not here. He's like, do this, do that, you should have done this. And I'm like, come on, man. I'd rather, like, what we'll do is you guys, I'm going to, when all this is over, I'm going to fly you guys over here so you can be part of the podcast, so I don't have to deal with Anthony being mean to me all the time.
Mean to you. I believe I just edited your video for you today.
Well, yeah, hang on. I did the first edit and all the other stuff. So
and I went, let's make that better.
Yeah, you did. See, this is what our dynamic is like. It's a wonder he still got me as a friend, to be fair.
Indeed it is. But I'm very lucky to have you as a friend.
Yeah, you know, he's backtracking now. He's saying he's lucky to have me, so I feel all soft and warm inside. But you know, he did enforce this whole cinnamon challenge thing on. You know.
Whoa, no, right? Enforcement, right? We all agreed to do the cinnamon challenge. You lost.
Well, yeah, but
you got your butt kicked because of Maven.
Brian Cage.
Right, yeah, that was a pretty cool debut. I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty awesome.
And I was right. I don't understand why none of the rest of y'all picked Brian Cage. It made sense, dude. Made perfect sense. But I was the only one smart enough to say it out loud and choose it as my pick, which got us 2 extra points, which meant we buried you just like AJ Styles was buried alive. So.
Well, I mean, obviously, like, we were hoping for Drew Gulak, but then he re-signed to SmackDown and WWE like the day after.
I mean, that was never happening. That was. Well,
we all thought about it. Don't tell me you didn't think about it.
I thought about it, and then I thought that's only a stupid person would say that.
Just because you think you're the god of wrestling predictions, Anthony, doesn't mean you are the god of wrestling.
How many of you lost?
I was gonna say, let's just take a look at everything that's gone down here. I mean, you can't argue with the straight up facts that are right in front of you.
I mean, the facts are Maven and Mr. G have lost one, and Dom's lost one, and I've lost how many?
Don't get pompous.
0! A big 0.
Nobody likes a smart bottom.
But it's okay. You can.
You won this one thanks to Maven.
It's true. That's fine. True. That's fine.
Like,
I think I would have drawn with you if I'd gone with my own predictions. But I'm perfectly happy riding Maven's coattails. That's all fine by me.
Mrs. Glean says, "Can they stay with me?" Yeah, you'd be great company, guys. I'd be well up for that.
Mrs. G, you can pop to mine. We'll have some beers. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, everybody can come round. Jack says, "No bearded men can be mean." Oh, dude, you have no idea. Like once I've got every intention of bringing you on. You need to start thinking about subjects you want to talk about, because I have every intention of bringing you onto the channel. So once you start doing videos with us, you're going to see what a control freak and what a mean human being Anthony is. So that you won't even want to hang out with him.
But Dom, all you've done is been mean tonight. All you've done is been mean. Well, I'm going to call RSPCA for myself.
What cruelty to animals?
Well, near enough.
Well, you are.
I'm too old to be a child now.
Yeah, I mean, you're still a bit of a man child.
Bit of a man child.
Right, Jack's bubbling with ideas. Cool, man. Send some, put some in the comments. We'll have a chat about it off when this is finished for sure.
Rock and roll. Let everyone get ready, because in about 5 minutes' time, we are watching WCW Nitro from July 29th, 1996. Minnie M, how do people view it?
All right. Demonstration number 2, technically number 3 of the evening. So you go to the WWE Network. You click WWE Network. Up will come a bar underneath. You will see featured WWE pay-per-view, Raw, SmackDown, NXT. You're going to click the one that says in-ring. You click that. It brings up the page of in-ring stuff. You're then going to scroll all the way pretty much to the bottom, and you will see WCW. After that, you click on WCW Monday Nitro, and then you find July 29th, 1996. Boom.
It's way too hard to watch wrestling, dudes.
Yeah, this is difficult.
All they need is like a search bar, don't they? Like, just put in the date.
Like you guys are lucky. You guys are family. Like our respective. Well, to be fair, I'm pretty lucky. But most everyone we know is just like, why do you do a wrestling podcast? You know, why do you spend this time at this age that you guys are at? You know, and why do you spend so much time and energy on this? Like, at least you guys are family, and you guys, can support each other through it.
The thing is if you weren't doing this, you'd probably be golfing or doing something else where you're spending time doing something else. So
I would like to golf. I would love to.
You couldn't golf. You couldn't move fast enough.
I'd wobble. I'd do. What is it they call? Is it crazy golf that you can do? Maybe I'd try some crazy golf or something. I don't know. I've never actually played crazy golf. I have no idea what it is.
You should enter it in the Olympics, dude.
What? Can you do golf? Can you do golf in the Olympics?
Yeah, of course you can, man.
I'm not sure you can, dude.
Jack says the Royal Society for the Protection of Anthony's. I like that. Well played, Jack. Cool. Jack says he found it fast because he lives through the network these days. Gutted. Jack also, he commented on our Drew McIntyre interview. Dom's just interviewed Drew McIntyre.
Oh yeah, man. I'm pretty proud of that. And
pretty amazing.
Thank you for your editing skills, Anthony. We all know that you did a great job on that, so thank you.
You're welcome. But Jack said that because Drew was talking about having a cat and how that helps inspire him and keep him motivated, and Jack's got a cat, and he was like, yes, Drew McIntyre's a cat man.
There you go. You see, I'm also a cat man and a dog person. I like all animals except for Anthony, it turns out.
Dom's getting kind of famous here. He's interviewing all the champions. I mean,
which champion's next? Yeah.
Oh man, well we'll see. Hey, but you guys are on the way as well. Like again, we've been riding your coattails. One might actually say, Mr. G, that we wouldn't have these opportunities if it wasn't for your platform. You've given us subscribers. We've had your support from day one. So perhaps I wouldn't be in the situation I'm in, or wouldn't be in the situation we're in if it wasn't for you guys. So in effect, actually, in a way, we owe you quite a lot for your support. So thank you for allowing us to, be a part of the Wrestle story, and you coming on to Gimme a whole year, and also like liking our stuff and sharing our stuff. It wouldn't happen if it weren't for you guys, So I appreciate it. On behalf of on behalf of Anthony, you'd probably say something mean.
I'm just gonna say, God, are you gonna shut up or keep going on? I mean, we're lucky to have them, but I mean, geez, Louise.
I don't get to see him all. I don't get to see him all the time, you know.
Well, if you watch the content, you'd be able to chat with them.
Well, there you go. You know.
How did you? I hadn't watched your Wednesday content yet because I was a bit late watching your Dynamite. How did that go?
Not bad.
Not bad.
Yeah.
Mike Tyson, AEW, the boxing retirement home.
I thought it was cool how they tied it into the WWE storyline.
Okay. Cool.
I don't know about that. I thought it was a bit weird, to be fair.
I thought it was a bit confusing, but
Well, I think the whole idea is since Mike Tyson's planning a comeback of some sort, and so this was him trying to get out there, and so I think that if he's going to do something like this, it just ties back. You know, it's kind of cool how they tied it back into the whole Jericho with him. You know, back in the day.
yeah, man.
So, I mean,
but what
I was
happened?
cool
What
with-
was the thing with the stealing the title? What the hell was that about?
I do not know.
Exactly. That I think he was just getting confused between him and Brody Lee. To be honest with you,
He might have been.
I'll be perfectly honest. So, have we all got our cup of tea ready? Are we all ready to party and watch this WCW Nitro?
I wish I'd got a brew, but I had too much water to drink because I had to do the cinnamon challenge. So maybe I'll get a brew halfway through because I really do feel like I need a cup of tea now.
Well,
'Cause
if you're that's what you're going to do, that's all good by me. Cool.
so painfully British.
Everyone in chat should have WCW loaded up, and we're going to party and we're going to rock this episode. Are you guys all ready?
You're ready.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to do a countdown and we'll start. Are you ready, Dom?
Yes, I am.
Okay, 5, 4. I knew that he'd turn when I started counting down. We're about to press play. Are you about to press play?
Not quite yet.
Why are you writing to people?
Well, I'm writing to people. I think it's important to write to people.
It's not. You communicate with them via conversation.
Our three fans, you know.
Ah, dude.
Like, it's
Right, are you
important.
ready to watch the pay-per-view, Dom?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Let's
Great,
go.
right. In 5, 4, 3, 2,
Wait a second!
1.
Whoa! No, I'm kidding. It's all right. Let's go. It's fine. All right, go on.
I feel annoyed by that, and all of our fans do as well.
I'm joking. I was joking. All 6 of them.
All
Right, go
6
on.
of them. Right, 5, 4.
David.
Sorry, go on.
What the heck?
Are we starting
Did
over?
we hit play or not?
Wait. Let's just start over again.
Oh,
Hey, oh, you have to wait for me. I've interviewed Drew McIntyre. You must wait for me now. This is my channel.
And Nick Aldis.
And Nick Aldis, yeah.
and some other people.
And some other people. Yeah, some other pretty cool people.
That's really harsh. I love it. Right, okay, we are all ready to start together in
Yeah, okay.
5, 4, 3,
3,
2,
2,
1.
Claymore!
Go.
No. Okay. Oh, it's... Oh, okay, so there's like houses.
Them graphics, man. Hulk
Hulk
Hogan's
Hogan.
ripping his shirt off in a house.
I
Hulk
like
Hogan.
the intro here.
Makes a little... Oh, this is cool.
This is
I definitely like this intro.
This is I think this is probably like Mr. G's favorite Monday Nitro for
Oh.
different reasons.
You know, I'm the only one that does it with them, with their subtitles. So you know, I'm just enjoying Anthony's air drumming like it's, you know, to me, that really adds to the atmosphere.
It was
of
happening,
what
bro. It was happening.
what I'm watching. It reminds me of an AEW kind of set. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, this is outside Hollywood Studios, isn't it, in Florida?
Yes.
is that where they've done some TNA stuff before? Impact? Did they do
No,
some
I believe that was Universal Studios.
Universals, right?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So Tony Schiavone, clean shaven, looking young there.
Yeah, man, that's interesting, isn't it? To go back and watch these guys in this time in their career.
This was before he worked in Starbucks.
Well, he hasn't changed much. I mean, he's just grown a goatee and hair's grayer, but he looks about the same.
He's one of the best commentators in wrestling, in my opinion. I really like Tony Schiavone.
Yes.
It's so weird, like looking at it, back then, and then looking at it now. Like he is doing this again, and it's really cool to kind of watch, just his career, as a commentator.
What do you think about Zabisco?
He looks young.
I'm not a fan of Larry Zabisco.
He's fine.
I mean, he's okay. I mean,
Who ordered the latte? Jack says in chat. Here we go. So the New World Order has arrived, and they've got video footage that's been sent to them. I can't actually hear what they're saying. Can you guys?
Not really.
No.
where is he? Where is he?
In the darkness. With a line under the screen, because this is VHS, baby.
Yeah, man, this is classic.
Wait.
Wow. This is
like one of them sort of home video sort of things.
Yeah.
You see, like or one of
Oh,
like
dang.
Oh. Who's this? Is this Sting or Luger?
Yeah.
I think
It's
that's
Sting.
Sting.
Oh, it's Sting, yeah. He's got hair. I mean, this is before the days of video phones, because you so know these days this would be done on a video phone, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
yeah.
NWO are running Roughshot.
I love the Outsiders. I love NWO. They're just so cool.
It was a good product, man. Have you guys... I know you will have, Mr. G, but has Maven ever seen this episode?
Yeah, many
Ah,
times.
it's great, isn't it? Have you seen this one, Dom?
Never. No, I mean, I may have done back in the day, but
Oh, it's
not
amazing.
so
I went and
much,
rewatched it, actually.
I always make reference to this video or this episode.
Yeah. Mm.
Always.
It's a great episode, and I'm so glad that people voted for us to watch this one. We actually, both of us, because we put it forward, and you also put this episode forward to watch. So it's just such a well done episode, man. Z sued Y2J over the living legend name. That'll be Zabisco. Jack, I can't either, but there's a police helicopter flying near my house. Two of my cats are chasing the helicopters. Well, hopefully they don't catch up to it, dude.
Yeah, that's obviously some distraction there for Jack.
There is Hacksaw's in this, isn't he? I think.
I think so.
Yeah, I seem to remember him being in it.
Yes.
Yeah, and there he is.
There he is.
Oh!
Oh man, he was still looking really good and mostly the same till about two. Well, I think he was last in a match on WWE television like 3 years ago. Like he was still looking the same.
Yeah.
He's aged really well.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever watch The Legends House?
I watched
I
a couple
did.
of episodes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. He was part of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a couple episodes.
Yeah, it's good fun. We was looking at doing a second season because Ric Flair wanted to do it.
Pays to be Hogan's mate. What, Hacksaw, Jack? Or are you talking about Enos, Mike Enos? Or Zabisco?
USA. What I quite like about starting this match off with this match is it's really corny. It's really 80s.
Yeah,
and
it is.
what happens in the rest of the show is so 90s.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. I think it's one of them that really sort of encapsulates a lot of time.
Yeah, it's interesting to go back at this point in my life and watch these matches, just because it was a big part of my life. The Monday Night Wars were a huge part of my early life. I used to watch them. I used to sneak into my mum's room because there was like a separate skybox.
So did I.
Yeah, and I would watch it there.
You snuck into Dom's room too?
No, Dom's mum's room.
Yeah.
Shut up, Anthony.
Sorry, go on, dude. Sentimental story, continue, please.
No, but that was how I remember WCW, because I would have to make a special effort because WWE was always on Sky and that, you know what I mean? So you'd be able to see WWE on Sky, but WCW, that there was a specific channel. I think it was Bravo or TNT or Bravo. It was called, and I'd have to make a special effort to watch WCW. You know,
it's interesting because the Monday Night Wars wasn't a massive thing in the UK like it was in America. Really, you was obviously getting this pay-per-view, this Monday nights at the same time. In the UK, that was 1 a.m, a start time. You know.
Yeah.
I remember like the whole Monday Night War thing. I remember I generally watched the WCW stuff over the WWE stuff.
I think I've always been a bit more of a WWE guy overall, but I was very impressed obviously most of my favorite wrestlers came from WCW. You know, I was massively into Raven. You know, obviously, we can't forget Mick Foley had a really good career.
But Dom, would you say that WCW had as much exposure as WWE across here?
Oh no, not at all.
No, I mean that's the real difference. It's interesting from a British perspective because we look at we hear all this talk of the Monday Night War, and it's not something that really affected us because we was watching majoritatively a WWE product.
Yeah.
And that wasn't by choice. It was, again, that thing of you guys were deciding which channel you was going to watch on that Monday night, whereas it was 1 a.m. for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was, like I say, we had to make, again, talking about special efforts, we all, with whatever wrestling choice we made, unless, it was on, because WWE was always on, you could find it on Saturday television on a midday, if you wanted to, but if you wanted to watch it live, the pay-per-views or anything, like I say, I had to get my grandma to like videotape them on VHS.
We both did, yeah.
Yeah, because that was the only way, because they had like a system where they could tape it. That was the only way, and I used to get really emotional if it messed up, if the tape messed up, because I was so heavily invested, and I've been so heavily invested in wrestling from such a young age. But yeah, like, again, sneaking into my mum's room to watch WCW was quite a treat for me. Like, it was a big deal, watching guys like Raven and this kind of alternative, because it was an alternative to WWE. It was a little less polished, I would say. It was quite exciting.
You know what? This is the best Duggan match I think I might have seen.
Yeah, it probably is. He's been in rest holds a lot of it, but it's his faces, isn't it? It's his facial expressions.
Well, again, I think it's putting on a show.
Yeah,
and he does a pretty good job with that.
Well, he seems to have. They did because obviously we've watched a lot of Hacksaw in WWE, and it was all a lot more corny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and this seems like he's still corny. But it still feels more like a fight. It feels like he's having to fit in with this generation a little bit better.
Yeah.
We got loads of messages from Jack. Appears to be Hogan. Jack watched Raw, but not Nitro. Our Monday Night Wars were Friday, I think. WWF won every week. Strange that WWF was on Sky. WCW was on 4 or 5, I think. I used to tape pay-per-views. The Front Row's Estate. The front row. I mean, that is so weird, isn't it? But I mean, the idea of having this at a theme park as well is a bit weird. Because do people go out of the way to watch a wrestling match at a theme park, or do they spend the day at the theme park and this is part of the attraction afterwards?
I think it's a bit like how Butlins is now in the UK.
Yeah,
it's for the kids, it's for the families.
NGW have a contract there, dude.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, well, I was talking to Adam Maxted about that the other day.
Yeah.
Butlins is much more family orientated and much more And I think WCW was. I think obviously this is the dawn of the Attitude Era in WWE, and I think WCW were really accessing a much more family vibe, in my opinion.
Well, here's a question. Now that, with things kind of changing a little bit with like COVID and being indoors and things like that, will they have more of these things outdoors?
Oh, definitely.
It's an interesting idea, and they can obviously do that. They can do that in Florida. They couldn't do that with NGW in Hull, or whatever. There are certain places.
Well, they could have it in East Park. There's loads of things that could happen.
Well, how would you do that with the rain? How would you do it with the potential of rain? Or
could you put like a big tent type thing up over the top of or a dome thing over the top of the ring? And
I suppose so.
You could.
That's what they do at and Jack said NXT UK is at a festival. I think Leeds. It's actually Download. So they do
Download. I've seen them a few times.
That's what they do at Download, and of course it rains all the time at Download.
Yeah, they put it in a tent, but it's for smaller wrestling companies. I think you say we're putting on a show. If it rains, and we've got your money. Or do you not?
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I've seen where they're having like a lot of concerts, like drive-in concerts and drive-in movies are starting to, at least over here, drive-in movies are starting to come back a little bit because of...
Yeah, I've seen that. And gigs as well, concerts. I've seen a few bands do, through SoundSphere, I've seen a few bands do in like live gigs and stuff, but like drive-through, so people don't get out of it. Well, they maybe can get on the top of their cars but they stay very near their cars and watch the bands. I think that's really cool,
I mean... It was so 80s and so, but that's what's really great about this episode as well, I think. He brought out some tape and wrapped it around his hand and got the win with it, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know when tape's made a punch harder. Maybe it was metal reinforced tape, no?
Maybe it was when the roll of tape, when it came and hit him in the side of the head, maybe that's what did it, and it wasn't necessarily the tape around his hand.
Maven, you could take a roll of tape to the face, trust me. You would survive. So we have Oakland pointing out that the threat of the NWO is in the area and there is extra security. Well, I think... Oh!
He was a good talker, actually. He doesn't get the credit he deserves, I don't think. I think Hacksaw Jim Duggan I think he's a WWE Hall of Famer, to be fair. But he doesn't get the credit he deserves, I don't think, as a talker. He was a good talker.
He's in this instance, but the WWE stuff was so... I'm American!
Yeah. I think that's why he got over, is because of his ability to talk.
Tape with brass knucks in, says Jack, yeah.
There was no brass knucks in that tape. It was metal reinforced, though. It's dipped in mercury.
Yeah, he's definitely in the Hall of Fame. Jack's just confirmed. You should be at a Guns N' Roses gig now, Jack. We've probably saved you from that, to be fair.
I saw Guns N' Roses a few years ago. I wasn't that impressed.
Yeah, they've gone downhill a bit, dude.
So Ric Flair, Sting, Luger, Macho Man, Arn Anderson's looking in a limo.
There's another.
Flair's
story.
in there with a lady right now, and Arn Anderson doesn't like what he's just seen.
Would have been easier just to open the door to see.
Yeah, it would have been. Sorry, Dom. What was you saying?
No. Well, I think it's time to celebrate the fact that Macho's just doing a Slim Jim advert.
That's awesome, man.
He was
Awesome.
he was always legend. He was always known as associated with that brand. But yeah, I told it with during an interview the other day. Ric Flair, when we spoke, he couldn't understand my accent. He didn't understand what I was saying because we have quite distinct Northern and Yorkshire accents, and it's quite abnormal for people. Don't always, there's a lot of people from London, that work in the media industry, I suppose, but the Yorkshire accent's a little bit less represented. So yeah, Ric Flair he had a real hard time understanding what I was saying when I spoke to him.
You should have just went, woo!
I did get one in there, and he found it. I think he just gave me a slight grunt of amusement. I was hoping he'd find it slightly more entertaining than he did, which is basically my life: is telling jokes and hoping that people find them entertaining, and in fact, nobody finds them entertaining as I think they are. That's basically my life.
Oh, wow. Here we have a couple of real stars. Miss Elizabeth in there, Chris Benoit in there.
What's McMichael do? He was quite a big fixture in WCW. Mongo McMichael,
yeah.
What's he doing now? Obviously, Deborah's there. She went on to... Is she Stone Cold's wife? Or she was very... Is she married to Stone Cold?
She was, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that was the bad one, wasn't it?
Obviously, Benoit, of course.
Benoit looks amazing there with hair.
He does, yeah, he does. He does. One of the, again, obviously for various reasons, but still one of the greatest wrestlers, if you can dismiss his personal actions, but one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Yes, definitely.
I'm just going to find out what happened to Mongo McMichael, because he was quite a fixture.
Oh yeah.
Steve McMichael, there he is. I
mean, what a team right there. Personality in droves in them outfits as well, man.
Yeah. Well, Sting was always one of my favorites.
And Lex Luger as well. I mean, you've got these two great charismatic people and Lex Luger.
He was married to Deborah during this time.
He was, yeah.
Michael, yeah.
Yeah.
He's now in a rock band. He's in a rock band in Chicago, and they're called the Chicago Six. There you go.
Thank you, Dom.
There you go. I'm just curious. I used to play because there was a WCW video game, and I used to remember playing as Mongo McMichael quite a bit. I liked his moveset.
Here's something a little unique that's happening right now. Macho and Sting are wrestling in their entrance gear.
Yeah.
It's not something you see very often.
No.
I can't wait for Crow Sting, man. This Sting just doesn't do it for me. I know it's because I'm a massive goth, but I can't wait for Crow Sting to show up. in this timeline, or AEW for that matter.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Glacier. Yep.
He was in AEW Battle Royale, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hang on.
I remember this, and I was going, "What is this? What they're showing this big thing, and then his entrance, like when you saw him the first time, it was like, what?
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. That graphic is amazing for Glacier. That's really cool. It was.
I think that I just did it better than Glacier, but I mean.
I think you did,
Whatever.
me.
Whatever.
Oh, he's training people now. He's training an AEW wrestler.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Glacier, yeah, he was in a Battle Royale.
He was.
Benoit and Sting in the ring. And this is part of the reason we're watching this, guys. Sting was so great.
Oh, totally.
Well, Flair was iconic as well. I mean, you knew what you was getting with Flair, but it was always so good to watch. You know, he was.
The way he interacted with like the ring and the buckles, the turnbuckle stuff, where he did the flip or the head bashes. You know what I mean? The way he would sell that was very
Like
entertaining.
that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, he's taking him to the random pineapple on the table.
Yes.
Pineapples and melons and a candelabra.
Getting all the fruit.
I think Mickey Mouse was having a feast there later on. Whose idea was that? Oh, what we need is some pineapple, some grapes, and some melon. We need a runner to go get that. It's really important to this match. These two just some really iconic matches. Which matches do you prefer watching? Ric Flair and Sting or Ric Flair and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat?
I think Ric Flair and Sting for me.
Yeah, me too.
Personally.
Maven?
Yeah.
I prefer Steamboat.
See, they had really good matches, like both feuds.
Oh, incredible.
And they were both really good.
I think for me, it's probably, I thought Steamboat was good, but I think it's more about the fact that I like Sting and.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's the same for me, Mr. G. I love what Sting represents, particularly later on in his career. As Jack said in the comments, he actually, he attached himself to a movement in the mid-90s that was obviously massive where you guys are, and became something quite big for us, of course, in terms of alternative music and culture and the goth thing. And I think that, he ushered in a whole new sort of band of wrestlers. Darby Allin gets compared to Sting, rightly or wrongly. Loads of those kind of alternative style wrestlers get compared to Sting. Because of that gimmick and that that style that he had. But there was nothing really, and this is quite controversial, I suppose. During this time, he might as well have just been Randy Savage. He might as well have just been. I think he was trying to find himself. During this period. There was nothing really to separate Sting from Savage.
I think he found himself. The issue was he become irrelevant. Is the issue. He was iconic as Surfer Sting. He just become irrelevant because the times had moved on. In my opinion.
Yeah.
And he introduced something that was great and really sort of current.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the big issues is you look at all the superstars that came in. So I don't know that he became irrelevant. I think it was the fact that he became like one of the superstars that were there. Because prior to Hogan and all those guys coming in, Sting was like a big name.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
I think Flair had the same issue, even though Flair was still, a big guy. When all of these guys came into WCW, it wasn't, Sting, Flair, the Four Horsemen leading the way for WCW, or prior to that, World Championship Wrestling or any of that. It was now the fact that you had all these guys, all these superstars in one spot.
Mm-hmm. But I suppose what I mean is Sting held on to that surfer gimmick from sort of 80s. And then after NWO broke through and they introduced this more raw storytelling, the gimmick felt a little dated.
Yeah. Like I say, I think he had to evolve. And he evolved again. Actually, one of the finer points of TNA, which I think obviously TNA gets overlooked now, was Sting's run in TNA. Obviously, it gets
Joker Sting.
It gets called out as a WWE rehash place. And obviously they take a lot of WWE guys or ex-WWE guys, WCW guys as well. But the Joker Sting gimmick was fantastic because he took something else. He took another topical idea, which was, of course, Heath Ledger's exceptional Joker performance, and made it, took it to a wrestling ring, which was genius, really.
If he enters AEW, I think he'll go with that gimmick. The Joker gimmick.
You do?
Yeah, I think he will.
Suppose it could be
But
pretty
it's his
timely.
most recent creation. I mean, I know that he was back as Crow Sting, but that was for sort of spectacle.
Yeah.
I think it depends on how they decide to use him.
Yeah.
How do you think? Obviously, we have a match to watch as well, but how do you think they'll use him? Wrestle Story. How do you think that they'll use Sting in AEW?
If they bring him in, I could see them using him to help get some of the younger talent over. Not that he'll necessarily go in and lose to them all the time or anything like that, but in some way get them over.
I think if you're in a match with Sting, you're gonna get put over because you're instantly on a higher thing, and I think he will wrestle. Is that sort of what you was asking, Dom?
Yeah.
Do you think he'll wrestle Story?
I could see him wrestling
A bit.
some.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that he'll be a full-time, every week, every other week type wrestler.
For me personally, it would be really cool to see him come back and, have, another match, another 2 matches. But I don't want it to get to the point where, I guess with The Undertaker, not that The Undertaker is, bad now, but as the years have progressed, he's, older and he isn't as smooth in the ring as he once was. And so, and it's kind of the same thing with Goldberg, is I don't want to necessarily have my views on Sting change because of a crappy run, And that's kind of why I'm I don't like Goldberg. Is because if he would have just left it where it was, didn't come back, do whatever he did, I might actually, like him more than I do now. But it's because of the crappy stuff that they've done with him and the terrible matches that he's had. And I mean, I get, the fact that he concussed himself and all this business, but it's left a bad taste in my mouth where I'm I don't want to see any more Goldberg matches. I don't care to go back and watch the old stuff because I have this image of Goldberg legit dropping Undertaker on his head, because it was not good.
No, it wasn't. No.
Really, I don't want that to be the case with Sting. I don't want something stupid to happen where it totally messes up the perception of him as a wrestler and as a character and all of this because of some stupid thing that happened.
Yeah, of course. I don't think that will happen, and I'll tell you why. Because you've got to the people that are it's more about the people facing these people have to make it work, have to sell, have to make the matches work. In my opinion, Rusev I thought did a really good job with the Undertaker a couple of years ago because he really sold that. It was the most 93 version of Undertaker I've seen in a long time because he really sold the fear of the Undertaker.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think if the younger talent are playing with this thing and sort of doing that dance with him, then hopefully we can enjoy it.
Yeah. Do you think, on that note, do you think Rusev will end up in AEW? Because that's something that people are talking about now. He's obviously got his video game channel, which he's very into at the moment. But do you think that's something in the future will happen?
Possibly, maybe. I could maybe see him going to AEW. I definitely think he would be better, honestly, anywhere than in WWE, obviously. But I think if he comes back, I think it'll be down the line because I think he's focusing on, the video game stuff and other stuff outside of wrestling at the moment to, maybe try something different. And then maybe he'll come back. And I think it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I personally feel like AEW's got a few too many big men at the minute.
I would definitely say they don't bring him out right now. Because I feel like just, on top of everybody they already have, I mean, like, they just had Brian Cage debut, and they have so many of these, like, like you said, the big men, and they do have a lot of them. So I think, like, down the line, if they want to, bring him out, I don't know.
Thing is, can you have too many big names or big men? With injuries and things like that happen?
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. I feel like there's a lot of monsters in AEW right now.
Yeah, you're right, dude. I think there is a lot of monsters, but I think obviously Rusev is a huge name, huge star power.
He is, yeah. As long as it works in story, I'm all good with it. Benoit looks great in the ring, man.
I think the thing about it is AEW, trying to bring, and I think they've done a good job trying to bring legitimate, like, names that mainstream, that not the average or the average fan that just comes in to check out WWE because of this particular name. Where I think if the AEW brings some of those guys in, they'll pull in some of those people that wouldn't normally go check them out because, who's outside, of a couple names. If you sit there and go, well, check out Darby Allin, I'm sure there's a lot of people that aren't necessarily wrestling fans, but will watch wrestling, that will go, who's Darby Allin?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So this is great. So they've been having a long match. I mean, that was a long 6-man tag match. And Jimmy Hart's just come down, and it's frantic. And the cameras are frantic. What's going on?
See, the thing about this match, like, this is, like, actually entertaining, as opposed to matches that go on for 47 years, like, now. It's like, they're just not good, and nobody cares. But this is the amount of, like, star power that they had involved in this match. Macho Man, Sting, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, Benoit. I mean, the amount of star power and personality and skills, like, people just, they care about this and they want to watch it because it's so good. And it does, it doesn't necessarily matter how long it is. And then you go this,
And there we get our backstage camera. No, you are right, Maven.
Look at those vandals with the baseball bats.
I love
this. Bagwell's been destroyed. Someone get his mum on a.
Oh, here it is.
Mysterio being thrown to the side of the building.
And boom. Yes.
Oh, perfect sell there from Rey Mysterio.
Mr. G's favorite spot ever. He always refers back to this every freaking time we talk about Rey Mysterio. It doesn't matter what it is. He's like, all I can remember is Rey Mysterio being thrown to the side of the building.
It is
Dude,
great.
and then Macho Man hopping on the limo, like, it was so iconic.
Yeah, man. Just drive off with him on top of the limo.
Like, it's so cool.
Now, this is an interesting thing because while the commentators are talking about the mentalness that's going on outside the ring, the audience have no video screens.
Yeah.
They have no idea what's happening.
It's just a really boring time to be in that audience.
They're like, what happened? We had a match going on, and now it's over.
Exactly. And all this chaos is erupting backstage that we're seeing. Jimmy Hart's top waistcoat suit is fantastic.
Dude, the selling, like, the amount, like, Nancy, like, screaming her head off, like, just the amount of, like, reaction and everything that went into this, and everybody did it so well, which made it so much more believable and made it like, holy crap. Like, Arn Anderson was, like, legit hit upside the head with a baseball bat by the Outsiders. Like, I can't believe that just freaking happened. Like, it just makes it all so much better.
Yeah, everything back at this time, obviously, because we were a lot younger, everything felt real, People say now, of course, it's still real to us, damn it, But, like, at this time, this was frightening to me to watch, you know what I mean? Because I thought, people like Arn, in this situation, he'd genuinely been hurt,
Is this just after Arn's feud with Ric Flair?
I think they feud pretty constantly for about 15 years, man.
I really need to watch more of Arn and Ric Flair together.
Yeah, really classic pairing.
Well, I loved him as Brainbusters, but I've not seen enough of his WCW stuff.
Mm.
This is so good.
And the entire crowd is like going, "What's going on?"
Jimmy Hart. Ah!
Why are the fire brigade here?
And it's
We called an
scary
ambulance.
time.
No, but it's a fire truck.
Yeah, but the firemen, there's a lot of firemen that are medics.
Jack says, Rusev to AEW is a lock. Are them in the front security because there's a few kids? Yeah, that was WCW security. Jack says, oh, this is where it's from. Yes, it is, man. The CTE injury. This is the big deal of this pay-per-view. But again, like, great to watch on TV. What an awful event to be there for.
Yeah.
And I think I've listened to someone in podcast. I believe it was Tony Schiavone before, who said like it was really difficult because we were trying to build up this excitement, but the audience were getting really impatient.
Yeah.
And so they didn't realise that it'd come across as well as it did.
See, the other thing, sitting here watching this, you have Eddie Guerrero sitting there going, there were 3 guys. No, wait, there were 4 guys, or 5 guys, or there were 3 guys, or There were several guys. There isn't just the 2 of them. There isn't just the 3 of them. There's more. And so like just watching it, it's like all cool because they're building up to everything. And that's why I love this. It's just because it's so highly entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
And it's so different from the product that they put out now where I will sit there and fall asleep. Like it's just it's so different and it's fun to go back and watch the old stuff sit there and go, well man. It's entertaining. Why can't they do this? It's like not that difficult to do. Just make it entertaining. Come up with better stories. It's not rocket science. Like you'd retain more viewers if your stuff wasn't trash. On a stick, on fire. Like, honestly.
Yeah. The problem is the thing that's different about this, Maven, is they've got an angle to head down. And they've got the beats within that. And every wrestler out there is performing as part of them beats, right? And they're not given the beats. It's just, I'm Eddie Guerrero. My friend's this guy that's been beat up. I'm going to react to that and perform to that. I'm Miss Elizabeth. I'm friends with this person. I'm going to react to that. And then you have all this manic improvisation stuff going on. And then you put cameras in there,
Yeah.
Jack says, I agree, Maven. This is a breath of fresh air. That's it, Jack. It was very ad-lib. You have the situation and you have the choreographed situation and then you have the people react to it. The mask has been taken off of Rey Mysterio. What?
Yeah, he had a good portion of his run in WCW maskless. I don't know if you've ever watched those, Anthony, or you guys, but you can actually find WCW content where you see a maskless Rey Mysterio. It happens for a long time in
I
WCW.
haven't. Was that early on or?
No, it was later on.
Oh, was it?
Ben was like standing there. He's like, Arn Anderson, my hero, is like lying on the floor, like half dead, and I'm like, so good.
This whole thing kind of reminds you of Lucha Underground, where it tells a story.
Yeah, absolutely. We talked about that before. Huge fan of that. So I'm going to put this in the chat for people to see because it's a pretty big deal. Rey Mysterio, because obviously now we just don't see it. We just don't see Rey without a mask. There's a clip of it. on.
Benoit acting great there. Elizabeth acting great.
Yeah, he was actually. Jack's just mentioned he was maskless in Ready to Rumble.
Oh right, okay.
Yeah, he was also maskless on the video games. I remember playing the video game, WCW video game, and he was maskless there. So for quite a while in popular culture in wrestling, he was maskless.
Yeah.
Right.
I used to love Ray actually, and I kind of I don't know I kind of preferred some of his work without the mask. I liked seeing his expressions, you know.
Now there's a bad bottom, Haku.
Yep.
Oh, he was, wasn't he? He was legit.
And Benoit's performing with him really well as well. But again, this has been a long period of time. That's great to watch. But if he was at an event...
Yeah.
You can see the fans in the background like,
Oh.
my day at Disney's over.
Yeah.
Are we going to have the mouse wrestle next?
Just the reactions from everybody, from, you know, the talent that got beat up, the talent that found them, that was all like, the Jimmy Hart, even, you know, Tony Schiavone and Larry Zbyszko, they're all like, they're playing their roles so very well. They're like, we legit have like no idea what to do because the outsiders just beat the crap out of these guys, and we don't know what talent is going to be here to wrestle for the rest of the show, and what's happening here, what's happening there. And like, it was just all, it flowed so well, you know, from one thing to the next, and it all just worked.
And this is a wonderful promo as well, actually.
Yes. I think this is what wrestling lacks right now. You have like the manager aspect of wrestling, because Heenan was one of the greatest at being a manager and being able to get his wrestlers over.
Absolutely, but it's the reality of the situation. It's him coming out there and saying, "I don't feel safe. I'm not doing this. I'm going home." And it's like, yeah, it's all. Of course, that's all scripted. He knows what he's saying. But wow, I mean, that makes it feel real, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's like they take a baseball bat and hit strike after strike after strike in this segment.
It's very long, but it feels again like Lucha Underground and like those sort of cinematic things. This feels like news. You know, it feels like a news. You know, serious thing that we're supposed to take seriously, supposed to be emotionally invested in.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point.
And I love that, you know, Macho Man, he went on the limo and he just like disappeared into the night. Like, Macho Man is just gone. We don't know where Macho Man Randy Savage went.
And they're not even talking about him.
No, exactly.
No, it makes complete sense.
There it is. See, then it was like the mystery behind it of like how many guys in the NWO were, how many are there? Like, know of 3, but they're saying that there's 4. There might be more.
Well, unfortunately, there was enough to make a whole wrestling company with at one point.
Yeah.
Again, that's Shivani saying, like, the fans are ready for wrestling action, and again, it's that difficulty between what we're putting out as our product and what is what we're seeing on TV.
Yeah.
And the crowd's chanting boring.
But that kind of I mean, the crowd's chanting boring, but it kind of ties into the whole like seriousness of what's happening.
It makes it more real because the crowd, it's like nothing's happening, which adds to the fact of like, oh, these people might have like legitimately been hit upside the head with baseball bats, and keeping people invested, going, oh dang, this might actually be like serious, like, so it all just kind of ties together,
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very intense, isn't it? The mood is very intense, which is very rare in sort of modern wrestling, that you have that kind of intensity, like a theatrical product. You know what I mean? Like, always, again, you take you back to Lucha Underground and a lot of that stuff. I really like the fact that wrestling is an art form, and it's acknowledged as an art form. It's a platform to have a drama. Do you know what I mean? To explore drama and art. And I think that this is a good example of that, because it's you take it seriously, you invest in it like a theatre. When you walk into a theatre, when you're watching a play or a production, it's fake, but you really invest in it for that time.
Well, yeah, and that's the one thing is we've had people come into our chat and ask us like, wrestling's fake, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, is Superman real? Is Batman real?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it's a show, and they're putting on a show, and they're doing it every week. And so, it's anybody that throws out there, well, it's fake. Well, okay, everything's predetermined, but a lot of these guys are actually putting their bodies on the line sometimes because of some of the stuff they do. And so it's fake as far as, everything's predetermined, but it's not fake in that some of the stuff they're doing is amazing, and the storytelling they're doing is amazing.
Yeah, of course.
Jack says, I always tell people wrestling is a performance art. Yeah, it is. I mean, that's just it.
Fake is my F word.
I think the other thing is to hold on to this so much as well, so that it doesn't feel like this is a allocated 10-minute segment.
Yeah.
They really sort of just go with the natural flow of it.
Yeah.
And I think because it's going on so long and they're not afraid to do that, WWE, of course, have this, you feel like they're constantly rolling, constantly tough, there's time issues, you know what I mean? They're constantly pushing the performers because there's a time limit and whatever, you know what I mean? And they don't really give a lot of time to segments,
Yeah.
Good wrestlers get 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes even to have matches. I mean, I think the wrestling community this week has been quite surprised because they gave Shorty G and Cesaro a decent amount of time on SmackDown. You know what I mean? So it's difficult to it's difficult to look at WWE when there's stuff like this where they're giving real time to this, like to heighten that sort of drama element. If that makes sense.
Yeah, the big thing is they're telling a story here.
Yeah.
And one of the things I think that, a lot of times WWE doesn't do right now is tell the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what about that image? Fireworks going off in the background, theme park event, and again the crowd must be thinking like, I've missed the fireworks spectacular to come and watch this wrestling, and nothing's happening.
They had like a 20-minute break there.
Yeah. But I mean, what an easy way to get pyro into your show, right?
Yeah.
High voltage.
High voltage.
Wow, there's some pink tights.
Looking like a really bad heart foundation. These kids are like, yeah, we're finally getting some wrestling.
And then they're going, who are these guys?
Oh, it's the Steiners.
Here he is. Oh, he's not happy.
Man, Scott Steiner looks so well there. Like, obviously I respect Scott Steiner's legacy in the business, but yeah.
It's so interesting because every time I look at Rick Steiner, I always think that's Scott, and it's not.
Yeah.
Scott was the good-looking young one in it. What? Getting our update again from backstage. The Steiners put on some really good matches as well.
Yeah, they did back in the day, and of course Scott went on to do some great stuff as a solo career. Rick, of course, never quite reached that platform, which is a shame actually, because I always liked the dog-faced gremlin gimmick,
Yeah.
Well, it's iconic, ironic, really, because Scott ended up becoming that, didn't he, himself?
Yeah, neither one of them, I didn't feel like were awesome on the mic, but because of their size and the wrestling matches, I think that got them over.
Yeah.
Like, even still watching this, just going back to the last segment, Rick. It's Rick, right? Rick's the one on the outside?
Yeah.
See, I have the same issue. I'm like, which is which? Like, because I'm like,
no, Rick's in the ring at the minute. Sorry, Scott's in the ring at the minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Scott,
no,
of
that
course,
is what you said.
Scott's
Yeah.
in the ring and Rick's
I
on
was
the
like, I'm
outside.
going to correct you.
Rick wasn't, he's like not even up on the apron. Like, he's like just pacing around at ringside because of what just happened backstage. And it's like I said, everything just flows so well together. And like, even though they're like, yeah, you're gonna go out there and you're still gonna do you're still doing wrestling matches. Dude, people just got the crap kicked out of them. Like, what? And still selling from plastic. They're such a good job at that.
Yeah. Jack says WWE prematurely cut stories. Jack says high voltage at the Poundland Heart Foundation. They are really.
Scott's the bigger one.
Yeah, I think he was always kind of earmarked to be the most talented of them, which is a shame. Again, a shame. But I think in multiple organizations, of course, WCW was where Scott built his legacy. Really.
Yeah, which is crazy because I think of the two, I think Rick is the one that kind of, could tell a better story.
I think he was obviously the most disciplined one as well. Obviously, Scott had his demons that he was dealing with. It's just a shame. I mean, to be fair, they both did. But certainly earlier on, Scott had a lot of issues that he was dealing with.
Yeah.
So I think, it's a real shame. I wonder what Rick is doing at the moment. Obviously, we know Scott just had a brief return to Impact. So
Yeah, he was in NWA too.
Oh yeah, I think he
was at one of their pay-per-view.
Oh, cool.
He made an appearance on their show just a couple weeks before. I think it was a couple weeks before all this, like all the the whole COVID thing started happening.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, nice. He's been in Japan most recently, so he's still doing stuff in Japan, which is great. Obviously, he's got a history in NWA, which is what you've said. That's Rick even. So Rick has quite a history in NWA as well. I'm going to just check on Scott Steiner.
I think Rick was like, I could be wrong because I could be thinking of somebody else, but I think he was doing something like with politics.
Yeah, he's in real estate as well now, so he's making good money there. Let's have a look. Yeah, National Wrestling Alliance, 2019 to present. This is, of course, Wikipedia, so take it with a pinch of salt.
Yeah, because they were talking about him on the because I've been kind of watching their stuff since they started putting stuff back on, and they've been talking about possibility of Steiner doing another thing in NWA.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd be interested to see that. Of course, I'd always be interested to see Rick as well. I'm going to just take 5 guys, go to the bathroom, so keep talking amongst yourselves. I've had a lot of water in preparation for this. So, yeah, more than I probably originally anticipated. So I shall be back shortly.
Oh, pile driver there, landed on the head.
What a pile driver.
Oh, while we're pile driver, made me think of moves that are, not used. They're now banning buckle bombs.
I've just seen that. I've just seen that they banned the buckle bomb.
I would assume it's probably because of all the crap that's happened with Nia over the last week.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the tip of the iceberg.
It was because there was that injury from Nia.
Well, they should have done it when they put Sting out, really.
That was what prompted it. Sorry, I've kind of carried on talking because that was a pretty mint pile driver. But I really need the bathroom. See you guys in a sec.
See you in a bit.
All right.
Yes. Sorry, say again, Mr. G.
Jack said this pile driver is me.
Yeah, it should have been banned after the whole Sting and Seth Rollins. It's not a move that you can control, is the issue.
No.
Yeah.
I think we've seen a couple of pile drivers in AEW recently as well, haven't we? And the FTR came in with the supported pile driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was nice to see, because again, that's a real sort of classic brainbusters move,
Yeah.
They are
Definitely.
such a classic tag team. They're very much so. They have that style of, they're kind of old school and they like the old school stuff better. Their catchphrase or whatever was "no flips, just fists" or whatever in WWE, and so they have. That's why I really like them as a tag team. It's because they're different than a lot of tag teams that they have right now, and that's when they have their match with the Young Bucks. Whenever they do that, I think it'll be really good because they are kind of 2 different styles, and it'll be kind of meshing the 2 together, and getting to see, what that the bouncing back and forth off of each other with different styles. I think it'll be really cool to watch.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's interesting because we was talking about this the other day with Dom, and on our this is the week in wrestling, I think it was, and he was sort of saying how the revival didn't fit in with the sports entertainment idea, and I was like, But to me, that was so much more entertaining than everything else that we're getting. This idea of cutting off the ring and going under the ring to stop the tags. The stuff in NXT was wonderful. And then the main roster stuff was just as good as Matt Riddle's is going to be. Who knows? You know? It could be, you know, it could be great, it could be rubbish. EC3. EC3 was great.
With Matt Riddle moving up to SmackDown, I don't love the way they introduced him. Like, it was just like Kurt Angle was like, he's going to be the next big thing, Matt Riddle. And I was like, well, that was underwhelming. Like, I mean, you heard earlier in the week, it was like, oh, Matt Riddle's coming to SmackDown. He's going to be on SmackDown. So I was like, oh, what are we going to do with him? It could be so cool. And then they were just like, yeah, I'm Kurt Angle, and I think Randy Orton and Edge is going to be great, but that's not why I'm here. So Matt Riddle's on SmackDown now. I was like, okay.
That's what we got.
So I honestly, I don't have time.
Oh, I think your sound's just gone. Oh, no, it's because he was speaking down. Speak up.
Sorry, my bad. Hello. No, I don't know. I think it might be good, though. It might be good. I don't have a lot of faith.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Who knows? Who knows?
Eddie Guerrero.
Eddie with his little tight mustache.
Big Bubba.
If you had a mustache, Eddie, Mr. G, you'd be all go for.
just a mustache. Yeah.
I mean, especially with that hair, though.
Yeah.
But you got to keep that hair on 24/7.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Well, I'm enjoying Saturday night. I hope everyone in chat's enjoying Saturday night. Jack says he misses pile drivers. I hate Seth because of pile drivers. And Eddie, my G, which I think is Eddie, Mr. G.
Yeah, that's it.
Eddie Guerrero is so good.
I have a full beard. I could be the new accent. I had a full beard until a couple weeks ago. That's probably about 2 months ago. Now, it's been a while. About 2 months ago. Turned it all up.
Now you don't have to do that, later this week. Like, I have another fusion, but you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You can just wear that.
I think next time Dom leaves, I'm going to ask him to mute his mic because he's just, you can just hear him crashing around.
He's never coming back. Give me a lot.
Back in the game.
Jeez Louise. Next time, mute the goddamn mic.
What?
What? It just sounds like a car crash, like just happening in your front room.
Oh yeah, sorry. That's how that's what everyone says when I walk around. What have I missed? So there's Eddie Guerrero there.
Big Bubba.
There is. And Big Bubba. Just going to go to the toilet quickly.
No, cool. I'll cover for you. Jimmy Hart looks like $1 million, doesn't he?
He hasn't changed a whole lot.
No. Again, another one that's aged very well.
Yeah.
I love Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart, we don't have, managers like Jimmy Hart anymore that, play a big part in different wrestlers, careers and stuff like Jimmy Hart did in so many people. So
What's Big Bubba doing now?
I think he's dead.
Is he? Oh dear.
I think he died.
2004.
Yeah, it's been several years ago.
Of course, it's the big boss man. Of course it is.
Yes.
I didn't even make that connection.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I knew the boss man died, but I didn't even think about it. Of course.
It was just a Big Boss Man that died.
Yeah.
Just Big Boss Man. Forget Big Bubba. Two
Well,
people.
they're the same. Yeah. Well, I didn't know they were the same person for a sec. I think it's all that cinnamon.
That's right. I always blame the cinnamon when
That's hilarious, man.
Yeah. I agree, Jack. I would say Paul Heyman is the closest thing to having a manager like Jimmy Hart.
But see, Paul Heyman, the thing that I don't like about Paul Heyman now is he has his good promos every now and again, but 99.9999999% of the time, it's always the same spiel. It's always the same with Brock. And that's where I get to the point where I'm kind of like, I don't really care, Like, he can be a great manager, but it's not good when it's the same stuff over and over every time he picks up.
It's interesting. So, and I was thinking about this with Bossman the other day, actually. So when he come back to the Attitude Era,
It was a great hardcore champion.
When he come back, he was instant main event, and then afterwards he sort of fell back into his place wherever that was on the card.
It was a big part of the corporate ministry and the corporation, of course.
Yeah, and I think it's quite interesting because a lot of people are saying the issue with like Lance Archer as a comparison, putting him in a big match and having him lose that big match. Or potentially Cage could do exactly the same. And actually, I think it's quite interesting because if you look at someone like Bossman or several wrestlers in the Attitude Era, they'd come in and there would be main event, and they'd lose the main event, and then they'd settle to wherever that was going to be. I just thought it was quite interesting. I can't remember who was talking about it.
Being thrown to the side of a building. That's all Eric Bischoff can think about. I don't know. Whoever it is. All they can think about when watching Eddie Guerrero is Rey Mysterio being thrown through the side of a building.
That was a pretty good spot.
Oh, that was good. At least felt heavy. It felt built up. What did you think, Dom?
I'm a big fan, like I say, of the Boss Man's like moveset. He's always been sort of big and clunky.
Do you think he should have got the pin with that move?
Well, obviously Eddie is like, he's one of the best in terms of selling stuff. So no, I think that roll up is exciting though. The roll up is exciting.
Yeah, I quite like the bear hug slam. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's the he calls it the what does he call it in
Bossman Slam.
WWE, the Bossman Slam, yeah. It's also Abyss's finisher, isn't it, in TNA, or it was, but he obviously works for WWE now.
Yeah, backstage, yeah.
Yeah. What was it called? The Black Hole Slam. There you go.
Oh, he was falling when that chop hit. It's weird. Does he somehow look younger in WCW than he was in WWE?
Yeah, he does. Like I said, I didn't recognize him at first. Genuinely didn't recognize him. Have you noticed he's tapping? Have you noticed he was tapping Eddie there? That's interesting. Obviously, to call the spot.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very rare you see stuff like that.
What the devil is that? Is that yours, Dom? Is someone
What's that
playing the
doing?
spoons?
No, I wish they were. I do love a good spoon session.
What's that going?
Oh yeah, upstairs there are ghosts. I have ghosts.
It's been quite a long match.
Yeah. Well, that's because half the talent's been taken out in an ambulance.
One might argue all the talent apart from Eddie.
Yeah.
Yeah, upstairs ghosts, they are friendly. Fortunately for me, they are friendly, yes. They couldn't protect me from the cinnamon challenge, though. Or inevitably educate me on the Big Boss Man and Bubba being the same person.
Yeah, Aunt missed it. We're sitting here, and Mr. G's like, "Yeah, Big Bubba."
I'd just come back from the bathroom, and causing a riot.
Mr. G, he's like, "Yeah, it's Big Bubba," and Dom goes, "Oh, I wonder what Big Bubba's up to now." And Mr. G goes, "Well, I'm pretty sure he's dead." And then he was like, "Yeah," he was like, "Big Boss Man," he was like, "Oh yeah, Big Boss Man, yes, I didn't realize they were the same person." And I was like, "Huh."
Yeah, that was definitely a thing. And look at Eddie Guerrero with the roll-up win.
And yeah, we got the win. That was a long match, man.
It was.
Yeah, it was done well.
Mm.
So I like the ending was good.
Eddie was good. Bossman was good.
Look at, why is Jimmy Hart getting in anyone's face?
Because he lost he lost, so he's gonna say
He's not
idiot.
intimidating in the slightest.
I love that.
Oh, he was gonna beat him though.
Oh,
I'm just gonna get within, this close to your face, but I'm not actually gonna hit you. No.
anything with Eddie Guerrero in Jack is good. Jack says long match, but good. Yeah.
Yeah, man. We did have some other good WCWs on the poll as well. Some really good ones.
That a good tornado DDT is quite underrated. I like Orange Cassidy when he does his flying DDT thing. That's wicked. I love a good tornado DDT like Eddie's done there.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite moves in wrestling.
Oh, it's great, man. Any DDT, because it's just a person getting landed on their head.
I love Jake Atlas, the cartwheel on the top.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, Jake Atlas's cartwheel DDT.
That is
incredible.
It's sick.
It is sick. You're right.
So the following announcement has been paid for by NWO.
Look at Hulk Hogan. Look at Hulk Hogan there. Looks the best he's ever done in that time, I think.
And this is the first time we've seen this advert as well.
Hulk Hogan's grin there. He's loving it, isn't he? He's like, I got all the power in the world.
I love that. We make the choices, wait for the call.
I like the reference to Ted constantly as well, because Ted wasn't a frequent appearance on WCW. It was more just known of Ted Turner and his legacy of Ted Turner.
It's true, actually. Yeah, he was obviously the guy with the money for a long. But he was the guy with the money, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of the CNN Senator, did anyone watch the news last night?
Yes.
Whoa. CNN Senators. Was that New World Order that attacked it last night?
I don't know. There's a lot of that going on here.
I think you have. You've got some big problems in your country, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. I was watching it all live. I was like, oh my word.
I've been kind of checking Twitter here, and there's some stuff starting to pop up in some cities tonight, too.
Is it near to you?
No, we're about an hour and a half from a city that's had some issues, but I think it was pretty much squashed and wasn't like, I mean, there was some stuff that happened, but wasn't bad. And then we're about 2 hours away from another city that's had some issues, but I think it was pretty much, I know the policemen had out in one of the cities, they had a big sign that said, the policeman had a big sign that said, "End police brutality" or something like that. So I think that kind of squashed some of the feelings of, the protesters and stuff, of, becoming violent and stuff. I think it kind of helped ease some of the tension.
I think this is obviously a massive issue, and it's an issue that is very pressing, and obviously different people are dealing with it in different ways. But at least we have wrestling to focus on. The
issue is with that is the police do so much good work. Like, it's a really hard job, and because of the actions of one person, they've
messes
now
everything
got
up.
all this rubbish to deal with, and it's sad.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Obviously, that's something that we're not necessarily in a position to comment on.
I can have an opinion, and I'm going to say that it was one person that did something absolutely stupid, and it's turned a nation against its police force, when actually police forces work hard within communities every day.
Yeah.
I think one of the issues is you don't see that put out there. When something bad happens, everybody sees it. When something good happens, only a handful of people will see it.
Well,
that goes for anything. I mean, if there's something bad, the news is going to cover it 900 times.
Well, that's a media thing. That's a media thing. That's what we're taught. Bad news is what sells.
Yes.
Good Lord, what a long advert. I mean, it could have been a little bit shorter. I felt like it went on a little bit towards the end. Is that anyone else?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I suppose you've got to put your stars there, because your stars are there, and
I mean, we're in the last few minutes now, so obviously they were hoping that NWO advert would carry some weight, I suppose, as the later part of the program exists.
Well, it is iconic, but it's iconic in a... It's funny because we see so much stuff now that's like cut in a nostalgic way, and that promo would be one example of that. Like, it's a really nostalgic thing that's really great, and we see it quite a lot. But actually, if you watch the full thing, it was quite long.
Yeah.
See, now, on SmackDown right now with the Forgotten Sons, they're kind of like doing. Somebody pointed this out, and I didn't even like. I don't know why I didn't put two and two together, but they're putting up the the following statements or whatever from the Forgotten Sons are their own, and WWE doesn't endorse it or WWE doesn't whatever. And someone was like, well, that's weird. That's kind of like very similar to like the thing they flash up for the NWO. The following segment is whatever being paid for by the NWO. It's the NWO's views, NWO's whatever. And I don't know why I didn't put two and two together, but they're doing that with the Forgotten Sons on SmackDown.
Oh, right.
now.
Okay. Yeah. But the Forgotten Sons are never going to be as big as the New World Order.
No.
See, one other thing about this segment and looking back at this is like Jimmy Hart is like he's a manager for a lot of the bad dudes. He's a manager for a lot of the heels, and so to come out in the middle of this match when a lot of the top stars that some would consider being the faces of the company, when you have some of the top heels manager coming out going, bad things are happening, we need help, to people that he wouldn't necessarily associate himself with, that also helps add to the segment that like, oh, this is serious, like this is a big deal, like Jimmy Hart, the manager for whatever the dudes, Kevin Sullivan, and he did stuff with them, whatever that's called. What is that called?
Kevin Sullivan and Woman.
There was something else. There was a group that, like, giant and stuff. And
Dom, you're good with stuff like this. Go on.
Kevin Sullivan in a faction.
yeah, I'm pretty sure Jimmy Hart was, like, managing that. Like, bad dudes. But whatever. I digress. Jimmy Hart is, like, the
The
manager
dungeon,
for...
the Dungeon of Doom.
Something like that? Maybe, possibly, yes.
Yeah.
That might be what I'm thinking of. But Jimmy Hart was, kind of managing the heels, and he comes out and he's talking to all the faces, and is like,
Yeah.
"We need help, we need help." It adds more seriousness to the entire the entire thing.
Yeah.
Because in storyline, Jimmy Hart wouldn't necessarily associate himself with the faces,
Yeah. It was quite a big stable. That so you had Kevin Sullivan, you had Kamala in there, Giant Haystacks was in there, the Shark, whoever the Shark was, Vader. Meng.
Wasn't the Shark John Tenter? Earthquake.
Hang on a sec. Yeah, well, Meng was in there as well. Yeah, it was John Tenter, yeah. And then you've got the Barbarian and obviously Jimmy Hart. Jacqueline as well. Jacqueline was in there, of course, WWE. Weirdly enough, Glacier was apparently associated with the group because he was the Taskmaster's bodyguard. Big Bubba, of course, the boss man, as I now know, was in there, well associated in there. One-man gang.
Oh, Jack already said Dungeon of Doom. Jack was on it straight away.
Cheers, Jack.
See, I knew it was something. I knew it was a faction. I knew I wasn't crazy.
Thank you, Jack.
That's the important part.
So we're getting a main event now. Greg Valentine. I mean, honestly,
And
Bobby
there he
Heenan
is.
did an incredible job of it. Versus the Giant.
Look at the Giant. The Big Show, man. This is insane. He looks... To be fair, the Big Show's aged pretty well. Obviously lost his hair, but he looks... he's actually got bigger, hasn't he? He's actually got more muscly in his old age. Well, in his age.
Well, he looks like Eddie Vedder there.
Yeah.
Maven's agreeing, and Maven has no idea who Eddie Vedder is. Bit of Pearl Jam, Maven?
What? I was just nodding my head.
That's okay. That's okay. Pearl Jam are a great band, though, so give that a listen. Give them a listen.
Giant with hair. That's what Jack said.
The pole on the ramp. Are you on about the pole in the middle of the ramp, like the light that's just randomly there?
kind of funny that he says here on planet Earth things have turned upside down with everything that's going on right now.
Yeah. If only they knew.
Yeah.
And that's the ring bell for the final match.
Look at Greg. Greg Valentine did pretty well for himself at this point in his career as well.
Yeah.
Classic talent.
I mean, that is conditioned hair, man. I mean, that's like poison hair, you know, Bret Michaels. Oh, the hammer. Oh, the hammer. Oh, it's not putting the Giant down. Yeah, clearly this is just a match to build up the big show and not going to mean very much. Good for him, though, with them thighs. Oh, he went for the axe handle off the top rope. It's done not very much to the Giant. He has to take off his outfit. Please, no more. The big choke slam. That's the pin, right? That's the pin. No, there it is.
That's it.
What a beast.
What a beast. What did you think of the last move of that match, Tom?
Big Show's the blooming powerhouse, isn't he? He's massive. And he's just totally destructive. Totally destructive.
It was just a way to build up a monster, wasn't it, guys?
I mean, he was obviously a legitimate challenge at that time. You know, there was nothing like him in wrestling.
No.
See, the question I have is, what are we listening to, Big Show? Because you said Hogan, listen real close, and then you walked away. You didn't say anything else.
I think he was letting his actions speak. But yeah, that he carried that finisher with him, didn't he? The big choke slam through his career before he got the punch.
Oh, well, here we go. Here's what we're listening to.
Oh, he's doing the muscles.
Oh, wow. Oh.
It's interesting to see Big Show as a face,
Yeah.
and not have turned heel by the end of the broadcast.
I think something else that was interesting there is he talked about America rather than the world, where like now wrestling is more of a global or seems to be more of a global thing.
Well, they keep pushing that, yeah. We haven't had a pay-per-view here for a long time.
No, Drew was talking about it the other day, saying that there is talks backstage about doing it and pushing it out. There are people in WWE
Yeah, because they've just
pushing
got
for that.
the contracts with BT Sport, so they must be pushing for it.
But of course, WWE, and Triple H's statement was that they don't make money from those things.
Oh, no, okay. SummerSlam 92, anyone?
Well, that was what Triple H said that. Triple H said that this year when he was asked about it directly.
Oh,
Slow motion, boom.
Rey Mysterio to the side of the building. And now we're like, it's the freeze frame of Rey just being like, That's epic.
Yeah.
Mr.
Good.
G, are you feeling about 20 years younger, my friend?
Yeah.
You enjoyed that episode? What do you think about it watching it now?
Well, it's the same thing. It's what I remember. The thing I always bring up: Rey Mysterio being thrown into the side of a building.
It is great.
It was the whole NWO, faction kind of making their statement and letting WCW know that they're there and they're there to take over.
Yeah, and even the NWO paid broadcast. What's that like watching back?
Again, I think back then I thought it was too long. Just like now I think it was too long of a promo, but I think they were probably trying to just kill some time. So
it is interesting though how we look back at that promo because it is iconic and it's something that they show all the time, and yet it was something that actually went on a long time.
Yeah.
What
Definitely.
do you think, Dom?
Overall, pretty good. It was great seeing the Big Show there, or Paul White as he was, or the Giant. Great seeing Eddie Guerrero. Obviously, really nice storytelling with the Arn Anderson stuff and the NWO. I think it's great to see that period of time for the NWO, particularly as Hulk Hogan, because he feels exciting. He feels different, which is obviously something we can't say. About Hulk Hogan very often. It genuinely feels like an exciting time in wrestling, and also for Hulk Hogan as a character. So yeah, I enjoyed it a lot. I think match-wise, of course, anytime Eddie Guerrero gets in the ring, seeing the big boss man, Big Bubba as he is, was cool. I'm a big fan of that. I'm a big fan of that, and you're just great to see the NWO sort of in their prime.
Before we go on to Mini M, Jack wants to say, fun show that. Jack, that is like a really iconic WCW, I think. But also, if you go and check out our poll for other WCWs, there's some really great... This is... In many respects, this is one of the biggest WCWs without going to, obviously, the Outsiders' first sort of appearance. And you know why I'm here, you know who I am. But some of them other WCWs on our poll have some really great matches on. And I think that this has a great story in it. And I think the six-man tag match is probably everyone's favourite match of the night.
I would say so, yes.
Yeah? But the other WCWs that we put on there have some incredible matches from like Eddie Guerrero and Dean Malenko, Arn Anderson, Ric Flair. Go check out, like, if you want to carry on watching a bit more WCW, go check out that poll. Maven, what do you think?
Overall, epic episode. This one, like everybody has said, it's such an iconic episode of, Monday Nitro. Just because of everything that happened on it. The in-ring action itself was great. The six-man tag match was awesome. The Steiner Brothers match was great. The Giant and Eddie, they all are so good as wrestlers. And they're all very talented. And then when they can do the story stuff on top of that, like with the attack on Arn and the attack on, everybody else that was backstage, and then the reactions that went into that and everything that, was behind that, and everybody just continuing the show while still being like, what just happened, it was all done so very well. And that's why I love this, time period and watching, Nitro, during the whole NWO thing, because it's like this long saga of every single week, it's like built up more and more, and it gets more entertaining, you know, till and then you have the aspect of how many members of NWO are there? Are there 4? Are there 3? Do people know what they're talking about? Do they know what they saw? And then you have that, which you can build onto for, you know, next week's Nitro. It's really cool watching it, you know, compared to the stuff now. It's just so very different, and they have such a hard time now getting people involved and getting people, you know, getting people to want to watch the show. You know, some of the stuff that they do is good, and some of it is entertaining, and then, you know, the rest of it is just hot garbage, and nobody cares. And so they need to figure out what they need to be doing, because right now what they're doing is not it. So, overall, great show.
Yeah, no, that's good, Maven. It's always interesting to hear other people's opinions, especially young people. You know, this is something that I think us old fogies have all watched and enjoyed quite a lot, but it's always interesting to hear your passion behind it. And also Hacksaw Jim Duggan as well. Like that
that match was also good. I enjoyed that too. You know?
That might be the best Hacksaw match I've seen.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's the thing about this is you know, like when I was a kid, I went from a time where like I had to wait for wrestling. We'd have an hour on Saturdays where you'd have like the WCW stuff, WCC, the World Championship Wrestling at the time, and then an hour on Sunday of WWE, to where, you know, now you have Raw and you have SmackDown, you have NXT, now you have AEW. So and during this time you had Monday Nitro, and then you had Thunder with Raw and SmackDown. So I mean, it's just one of those things that the time. I think the storylines now are tougher to do because they have so much content they put out there, and they don't use all of their wrestlers, and so I think that makes it tougher.
I spoke to Dom about this before in terms of the putting people outside the ring in WWE. And for me, it's all about control. And in this episode here, you saw a lot of that during that whole backstage brawl, where it was people reacting as the characters were supposed to be reacting, as opposed to being told from management, you need to react like that. And that's one of the issues that I had when we've seen... And Raw and SmackDown have been infinitely better this week by having an audience. But when you've got people like... what are the names? Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafira, is it?
Yeah.
When you've got them cheering the faces, it don't really work. All that they've been told out to do is go out there and cheer for the faces. And that's all about WWE control. And actually let the characters do what they need to do and play into that. But WWE is so afraid to do that because they have to have control of everything. And I think that's what rewatching this episode really sort of takes me back to, is an era where you were able to give trust in people and let them create something, and it ends up being magical. I mean, that whole segment, even watching it now, it's like, is this real? Is it not real? Of course it's not real. But I mean, first of all, you've got Rey Mysterio selling a lawn dart into the side of the building straight away, which looks graphic and violent, and then everything else that follows it really sort of plays to that. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
If they didn't have the people reacting the way they were reacting, I think the segment still would have been good, but it wouldn't have been nearly as great as it is. If they, you didn't have Nancy sitting there on the floor crying over Arn Anderson, screaming her face off, yelling for help. If you didn't have Chris Benoit standing in the background trying to hold himself together, but ultimately falling apart because he's like, Arn Anderson, my hero, just got, beat upside the head. You have Eddie sitting there. He's like worried about Ray, but he's still like, wait, he's saying that there were 3 guys, but no, he said there were 4 guys. What's happening? Kind of confused. And then you had Macho Man freaking jumping in the limo, being like, peace out, folks. I'm going after you. I mean, you had so many different reactions, so many different aspects of this segment. that it wouldn't have been, and then it's not even just in this segment, but later on you had the Steiner brothers and you had Rick outside the ring who wasn't even up on the apron for half of his match because he was pacing around on the outside. You had Bobby the Brain Heenan, who would not do commentary, who said, I am scared for my life. I don't want to get hit upside the head by a baseball bat and be paralyzed and not be able to do anything.
Underrated promo.
You know, and it was just everybody played a part in this segment in some way, whether they were meaning for them to or not. It all worked. And that's why I love this. I get so passionate about this because it's so good.
So, all right, Maven, we all join in with your passion. It's just late for us in us Brits, and Mr. G is fed up of his wig. He's ready to go get a shower, condition the hair.
It's a great wig, though, Mr. G.
Thanks.
Groovy, have you got anything else to add, Dom?
No, I was impressed with that. It was cool. Lots of good nostalgic moments for me personally. So just a pleasure to hang out with all you guys again.
It's Saturday night. It's a party. Any more stuff in chat? Jack says, fun show. AEW wanted Fyter Fest in England. Yes, it did. Gutted it's not coming here because we would have been there. I think they'd be fools not to bring King of the Ring here. I mean, yeah, but they've been fools for the last 30 years by not bringing King of the Ring here. Yeah, I think I need to see some more now. Well, honestly, go check out that poll and go check out the other episodes. Jack says he's young. Good for you. He's only 31. You're not young. So much wrestling today. I know, right? And Wrestle Story.
If 31's not young, I must be a dinosaur.
I was going to say, that makes me really young.
There we go. So you can either feel good or bad about yourself. That's why we have Wrestle Story here. Jack says so much wrestling today. They do, but you don't have to watch it all. You can just go watch review shows. And Wrestle Story have a brilliant review show where they break down everything that's good, everything that's bad, and then you can just watch the highlights and catch up. That's what I do sometimes. The NXT guys as a crowd doesn't work unless NXT gets a main roster crowd. NXT guys would work if there was actually being their characters and just letting that happen, but Vince won't let that happen because they'd be taking away attention from the show. Great hair, thank you. Pleasure. Ouch. I think he dropped his cat on his toe. And he's so young. I don't know if he's so young or Sue Young. One or the other. That is all of the comments. Thank you so much to everyone for commenting. I think we're going to end the podcast there.
Cool. Thank you so much, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us on.
You're
Always
welcome.
a pleasure.
Next week we are on your channel. Is it next week or is Backlash next week?
Takeover's next weekend.
Takeover's next weekend.
Takeover in your house is June 7th.
Cool. So shall we announce it on Twitter when we're going to do our party?
Yeah.
Yes.
And next time, what are we trying to do? Are we going to try and do Lucha Underground?
Lucha Underground, ECW.
I think it's easier. It's easier to maybe do ECW.
Cool. Do we not have any sources for Lucha?
We'll find one.
We'll find one. Dom will find. So you might be voting on one episode, but you will be voting. So keep an eye out on our Twitter, Wrestle Stories Twitter, Wrestle Stories YouTube, Gimme a Whole Yeah YouTube. Dom did a Drew McIntyre interview earlier. It was amazing. Dom, give us a smile. Nice. Until next time.
Oh yeah!
I was waiting for you guys. Oh, yeah. Thanks, guys. Take it easy. Cheers. Thanks for watching me eat cinnamon. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you endlessly.
Hey, thanks for taking one for the team, Dom.
Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime.
Yeah, he ate 1.5 spoonfuls of cinnamon for you.
I know, he's a beast.
Yeah, anytime, man. Anytime.
Until next time, give me a whole yeah, everyone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Peace out, guys.
Peace out, everybody.
This is Broken Matt Hardy. Thank you for watching the Gimme a Whole Yeah Wrestling Podcast.